Hey YouTube, Dan of All Things here, out of Lake Powell. And one of my favorite things about this Humminbird is the map. I use this for navigating the lake. So right now, you can see we're in this little cove. So I'm gonna zoom in to our actual location here a little closer. You see it's showing that we're sitting in 10 feet of water. Now, according to my map, I'm sitting on dry land. And that could be because the map is, it's good. It's not perfect. It gives you definitely helps you know where the deep channels are. And right now, we're probably not set correctly. So we're gonna go here, go to our HB chart. I'm gonna scroll down. So water level offset, we're currently set at 127 feet. I think the offset is actually more like 139 feet right now. So let's see what that does to us. And that's going off a full pool of 3,700 feet. And what the lake says we're at right now, at 3,561. So now I've adjusted it. And I have to adjust this every time we come to the lake, because every time the lake is a different set. So now let's go back, exit back out of there. So again, see, according to my map, if I can get it to zoom in here, that little dot theoretically is where I'm sitting. And now according to my map, I'm sitting on dry land. And then it shows you that red zone as we zoom out. So you see some of these boats that end up on the beach because they're navigating in the dark or at night. This is a good guide, but you can't trust it 100% because obviously I'm not sitting on dry land. According to the depth finder, I'm sitting in 10 feet of water. But according to the map, I should be on dry land. So if you're looking at the map now, I'd rather have it set below where I'm actually at. So this would stop me from going onto dry land a lot sooner. But I mean, theoretically, this should be accurate. So my map should be showing me in 10 feet of water, and it's not. So you can't trust these 100% when you're out navigating the lake. They're a good guide. And like I said, if you've got it at least set to a margin of error where I'm in 10 feet of water and it thinks I'm not, then no matter where I go, I shouldn't run aground, theoretically. Just waiting for it to catch up here. So it shows you the different depths around the lake. I mean, you can definitely be in the main channel. Ooh, we got some wakes coming in off the main channel. All right, making me bounce back and forth here on the screen. But point is, doesn't matter how well you think you know the lake's different every time you come. So, you know, different elevation means a rock that wasn't there last time you came by could be now, and that the shore could be in a completely different place than it was before. Shoals out under the water. In fact, there's one out in the main channel right now. Not really. So I won't even bother turning the camera around. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit though. So I'm gonna come in right across from where we currently are. And you see some of these red lines because I haven't erased them. So some of these red lines are from last year. And you can see now I've been going over here to where the channel shows, and I can go up through Bullfrog and I can know exactly where the deep water is. But as you can see, last year we were able to cut right across here closer to Stanton Creek and the side of Bullfrog. But this year that's an island and a marsh over there, so you can't even think about going there. So we went there last year, so if I came by in the dark following maybe one of my marks from last year, I'd end up that beach. You know, I could end up there. Just because I'm thinking, well, this is where I went last year, so if I drive the same line, I'd be okay. Say you're in the dark, obviously, or the dusk. So doesn't matter how well you think you know the lake or how good of a boater you are. You know, recently we've seen a few boats on the lake where you see the pictures of the boats beached. And, you know, one of those particular posts, you know the wife loves the guy because even though he ran the boat up the beach, she said what a great experienced boater he was and what a great boatman. Now it's hard for the rest of us not to laugh when a great experienced boater and boatman ran his boat completely out of the water onto the beach. I don't know. You got to swallow that one. That wasn't great boatman and great experienced working there if that's what happened. Doesn't matter if, you know, if you were going at night trying to get somewhere in a hurry, you know, you're not helping anybody if you end up on the rocks too. And worse yet, you could end up being the rescue. So driving at night, you know, take it slow. Doesn't matter where you think you are, and doesn't matter what your map or your GPS says, because sometimes they lie. I followed this map here because, you know, it's on my Humminbird. You can download the, you know, pretty much any lake in the United States, set the water elevation, and it's supposed to tell you where things are. But I've actually had multiple occasions where, simply as it is today, you know, I've set the elevation at minus 139 feet because that's what the lake elevation is today, but this map is not accurate. So it's a guide, not a be-all. And I actually, even on the main channel, going off to one side there again, I was watching my map. It was luckily daytime, but I was watching my map. You know, it was showing me in some deep water here. But as I happened to be looking out ahead, I could see, you know, the orange sandstone, some big rocks that you would think would have been on the map, poking up out of the water. And it didn't matter how far I zoomed in on my map and what elevation I changed it to, it did not show those rocks. So they do not show everything. They don't show every single rock and upcropping. Even with, like I said, even if I think they should, I mean, there's some on there I definitely think they should have shown, but they don't. I even hit one last year over by Hobby Cat, same thing. No matter what elevation I put it at, it was just 2 feet underneath the water. It's on one of my other videos, you can see it. You know, you don't even see it. It was an upcropping of some land and some rocks, you know, 20 feet of water all the way around it, but I happened to go right over the section that was only 2 feet underwater and took out my prop. Just because you can't see it, you know, you couldn't even see it coming until you were like 10 feet away from it. And by then it was too late because I thought I was in 20 feet of water and safe. But, you know, there's a, you know, and I think in PAL, I don't know anybody who's come to PAL very often that hasn't lost a prop or scraped up a prop at some point. Especially if you're like me and I like to get into the back of the canyons. I like to go explore. So I quite frequently get into shallow water, but I know I am. And I bring extra props because I know there's a good chance I'm going to ruin one. But that's what I like doing. We like to get back and hike, and we like to get back to the end of the canyons, and you can only do that. Sometimes I've hit some trees. Sometimes I've hit some rocks. I use aluminum props just for that reason, because they can take a bit of a hit and don't ruin your lower and your gearbox is easily. So I've never damaged my outboard or my motor. I've lost some props quite a few times, but like I said, I just bring extras because I know it's going to happen. But so if you're out here boating on the lake and you're following these maps like they're the you know, sacrosanct be all, you could be in for a rude awakening. So boat safety. Enjoy yourself. Have a good one. Dan of All Things out here on the lake. See you next time.